Good afternoon, everyone. It's Dr. Ana Valdez once again with Ask a Storyteller, Ask an Educator. And today I'm super excited and also maybe a little bit nervous because our guest today is Sofia Gonzalez. And Sofia, many of you know, did a guest spot hosting of Ask an Educator for us for a little while, a couple years ago. So for those of you that haven't had the opportunity to meet Sofia or get to know Sofia, or as her students call her, Mrs. G, let me tell you a little bit about her and then we'll bring her on stage and have a great conversation. So Sofia is a high school AP English teacher up in Cicero, Illinois. And she's also a nonprofit leader and an education activist. She's been in the field of education and in the classroom for a little over 15 years. And she has a deep, deep passion for students and teachers who are underrepresented or disadvantaged or marginalized. She's involved with a ton of programming activities and has participated in our Ask a Storyteller program with Storytellers of America. She's involved with Latinos for Education. She was a keynote speaker at the Guadalupe Center earlier this year, I believe, and just a variety of things. Oh, and need I say more, she's also a Fulbright scholar. So without further ado, let's bring to the stage Mrs. G. Hi, Sofia.
How are you, Ana? Thank you for the intro.
Of course, absolutely. I get, and thank you for being with us today. I know that it can be hectic wrapping up the school day and then trying to get home so that you can, one, beat traffic or two, get in before you have the next activity or event. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts for coming on and being with us today and just sharing your knowledge and your experiences. As I mentioned in the intro, you have been not only the host, but you've been a part of our storytelling. You've been an active member of LEC and doing all of that from a distance of the Chicagoland area. So that is very impressive. And thank you so much for doing all of that for us. So I'm going to turn it over to you, and we'll just look at this as just like, two tias talking, two comadres talking that haven't seen each other for a while. And you can tell us what's the latest and greatest with you and what we can expect or should be looking for from you over the next year.
Yikes. Okay. Well, for sure. So I mean, first and foremost, it's always good to be in community with the LEC family. So I'm definitely excited to be back in community with you all. And first and foremost, but I mean, I am right smack dab in the middle of my 17th year of teaching in the high school classroom, high school English, and I'm with the kids right now, Ana, and that's really where I love to be. It's my sweet spot, as classroom educators and activists. Being proximate to the kids and to the issues is definitely where we always long to be.
Yeah.
I'm in a variety of different projects and pursuits right now. So latest and greatest, I just got back from Argentina just this past summer. As a Fulbright scholar, I was able to leverage that alumniship and gain entrance into another travel abroad fellowship grant with the U.S. Department of State and World Learning. And that has been, such an amazing, trip to still unpack. It's a year-long grant experience. In that, long story short, I traveled with a select group of teenagers from all over the United States. They were handpicked, selected, global-minded, justice-minded teenagers. And we went to Argentina to immerse ourselves in the culture, of course, but also to allow our trip to inform what is called a community-based project. And so while we were abroad and interfacing with World Learning Argentina, another team that was on the ground, it was so cool, Ana. We started in Buenos Aires and then we got ourselves to San Juan, where we stayed in host homes. So I had semester. It was amazing.
Wow.
100% en español. Uno tiene que hablar en español. So 100% in Spanish, which was great. I got to practice my Spanish and just really meet some incredible folks. And now that we're back in the States, I'm still meeting with my group of young people and mentoring them to engage these community-based projects, some of which are the likes of addressing period poverty in the United States, specifically among the unhoused.
Right.
Another project is about getting books into local prisons and youth centers that have youth that are at risk. These are just some of the projects that these youth from our country were dreaming up. So that's the latest and the greatest with Team Argentina. Uh, and then just this past weekend, I was in Springfield, our state's capital, for orientation weekend. I'm a fellow with a nonprofit organization called Advanced Illinois, and it's really about putting teacher leaders and teacher activists and other school leaders and folks that are on the ground to interface with our state representatives, elected officials, and really engage this idea of policy and practice. And you know, Anna, I'm already getting hot. Okay. Because,
She's like warming up. Okay, ladies and gents, here it comes. Here it comes.
you know,
Yeah.
here comes Ms. G, right? So with the latest, crisis that we have with immigration and with ICE and all of these different nuances that are affecting specifically the Latino community, really proximate and up close. I teach primarily first generation students from Mexico. And so I really just wanted to be part of the solution, not only teaching them and helping them unlearn, amplifying their cultural identities in their classroom through our curriculum, but also really getting in the face in real time with our state representatives to really talk about these civil rights issues and to really talk about, this massive gutting of the Department of Education, so on and so forth. I'll stop there, but those are my two active fellowships and some outside work that I'm doing that is really important to me right now.
So thank you. That is amazing. And there's just so much to unpack there. First, let me ask this question. How can somebody that specifically Latino educators, how can they get involved or apply for Fulbright, or even maybe their local or state organizations that have fellowships like that? What are some recommendations?
Sure. And it's funny that you mentioned that because I'm a podcast host for Fulbright Latinx Affinity Group, and I'll definitely pass on the information so that you could share with the folks that are listening in and are connected to the LEC family. Pero you could definitely go onto their website. I believe it's Fulbright.org, and there are constantly grants and fellowship opportunities that folks can apply to. And in addition to that, there's another website called Pro Fellow that really shoots out these travel abroad opportunities. And what I'm focusing on as a Fulbright scholar and part of this affinity group is focusing on the Latinx presence across these Fulbright scholarships. So that's been really, really cool too. And I'm currently, because I also do a lot of speaking and workshops and keynotes. One of my latest keynotes is the incorporation of global competency frameworks in the K-12 classroom. And I'm trying to put educators on to these travel abroad grants that are still in existence.
Yeah. No, that's great. So that was Fulbright.com. And then what was the other one?
Pro Fellow.
Profellow.org, maybe?
I could tell you right now.
Okay. And the reason I'm asking that question is, at LEC, I work a lot with young educators. And frequently I hear them say, well, I'm the first generation. Some of them said, I'm first generation citizen. I'm the first to go to college. I'm the first. So what I remember when I went to college, and I'm not first generation American, but I am first generation college student. And my mom would always say, Mija, I can help you with, you can stay home and you can go to school. And that kind of made some choices for me because, nobody knew what we didn't know. Right.
Right.
And so I try to provide information to young teachers that are in the same situation. Their parents love them to death and support them in a multitude of ways, but they don't know what they don't know. And so, since you have that expertise and that knowledge, that is a great way to share with them to say, anyone can do it. And everyone should try to do it, right? And don't take, and this is what I say to them all the time. I'm a sports enthusiast. So I always say, don't take yourself out of the game. Go for it, step into the batter's box, and always swing the bat regardless of the pitch, because you never know, if you make contact, you can hit a home run, or best case scenario, you just get on base.
Right.
And by not stepping out of the dugout and stepping into the batter's box, we never have those experiences. And I've been lucky in my life that I've had experiences. I haven't been a Fulbright, but that was on my bucket list. And now I'm a retired teacher. So now I don't know, maybe there's a retired teacher Fulbright. I don't know. But so I just try to find them ways and means that they can explore their learning. And I know some of them are afraid just because of everything that is going on that you mentioned at the beginning of opening of our conversation. So thank you for sharing that. Fulbright.com. And I can't remember the other one again.
So it's Fulbright.org.
Oh, okay. Fulbright.org. Perfect. Okay.
So it's one L. So it's
Okay.
Fulbright.org with one L, and it's profellow.com.
Profellow.com. Okay, great. Great. And then here's another important question. Did you learn how to tango while you were in Argentina?
We went and we had tango lessons. Yes, we did. And
I like how you did your head, because that is all like, and I mean, that's a silly question, but oh my gosh, to have that cultural experience. Argentina is beautiful. And if you get the opportunity, if you're out there listening, you get an opportunity to go and explore it, do. South America has some of the most beautiful countries and people that exist in our Latin diaspora.
it was absolutely amazing. These are free programs,
Yeah.
okay, that are fully funded. And number one, educators, folks in the K-12 space, like, we are just so under-resourced. So yes, not trying to be a dead horse here, but we need to be out there and we need to be seeking out these opportunities, because guess what? They need the representation in these spaces. The fact that I was able to speak Spanish gave me access into this specific grant opportunity. And so leaning into that whole concept of our language is not a deficit, it is an asset. I was selected because I was able to lead groups in Spanish, defend myself in Spanish, and represent and function in my authentic self.
Yeah.
So it was just a great opportunity. So to your point, these opportunities are out there. We need to pursue them. And I like to use sports lingo too. I talk about the Hail Mary. I'm like, look it.
Hey, you're a Bears fan. That's all you got is Hail Marys.
That's it, right? If we're a Bears fan, right, over here. And then even at the basketball level, I'm like, you know what? In the words of Michael Jordan, you miss 100% of the shots that you do not take.
That's right. That's right.
And I really am, Anna. I am such a beneficiary of taking a bunch of shots and shooting my shot, man, because again, the worst that they could say is no. And the worst thing that I can do is wait for the next cycle. And eventually you'll get a yes, or you'll be redirected into another, space. Also, I'm with a space called EdSurge. And EdSurge, as an English teacher, this is actually one of my favorite fellowship spaces that I've been in a while. And EdSurge is a paid fellowship.
Okay.
Yeah, now I'm pursuing paid fellowships. Let the listening audience know, mira, pa que tú lo sepa, the Puerto Rican side of me is coming out. I'm half Chicana, half Boricua, okay? So, pa que tú lo sepa, there are paid opportunities for us to function and operate in our diaspora like genius. And I'm literally getting paid to exist right now, Anna. I'm writing 4 essays for them on my life's work on
Yeah.
global education, on changing the narrative for Latino students. My last essay was being proximate to Chicago gang and gun violence and
Hmm.
holding grieving mothers in my arms and bearing children, of course, most of them, all of them, kids of color in these disadvantaged neighborhoods. And we're not normalizing this. And I get a national platform and I get direct messages on a weekly, like, I read this, I saw you here, and you know what? This is how we continue the revolution, right? What does Dolores Huerta say? Every moment is an organizing opportunity. Every person, a potential activist. Every second, an opportunity to change the world. And that's what I want to do.
There you
Period.
go.
Clock it.
Period. Look, we're probably both Gen Xers, and we're doing.
Yes, we are. But now the kids, Anna, they say clock it.
Yeah.
Instead, this clock it. Clock it, clock it, clock it. That means that we're on point. That means
Yes.
punto.
Yes. So that's fantastic. I mean, holy cow, that is amazing.
Thank you.
The work. When you have those essays, please shoot them over to us because we'd
I
love
will.
to be able to share those out.
Thank you.
Have conversations around them, because I don't think we, as a culture, we do those kind of intellectual. I don't know what it is, but like gathering of mindsets, and then have essays shared out and be able to have those discussions about okay, so this is somebody's perspective in Chicago. How does that resonate, replicate what's happening here in Kansas City?
Sure.
And how do we take learnings and lessons from a larger city to a much smaller city, with different characteristics that can be leveraged to either support families in the situations that they're in, support community outreach, or just support young people. And
Right.
so that they have an idea, alternative to the choices that they're making because they feel that they're stuck in a rut. So I would love to read those and share those and have conversations around them in a kind of town hall experience. That would be phenomenal.
Oh my gosh, that would be my honor. I worked really hard on them, and it is such a compilation of my lived experiences, the lived experiences of my students and families, backed by research and data,
Yeah.
and just a little bit of passion and love along the way. And I'm also an inaugural fellow with Storytellers for Change. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm hip to this storytelling, and that really helped me really shape my story at the intersection of social change. So I have a lot of love for Alicia and for Edgar and Luis and Ivan, and just the crew that has really. And here's what's cool, Anna. I'm not even from KC.
No.
Y'all take me in like I'm from there, but it's like the work translates, and
Right.
we're more alike than we are different in terms of the communities that we serve in KC and Chicagoland, like especially within the Latino community. Like there's so much overlap and common ground, and we're all unified in the same mission. And this is what collective impact looks like, by the way. Okay. You got your sister from the Shy. I'm hanging out with my familia from KC, and I'm not mad about it because I need you.
And we need you. We need voices like you. We need people who are out in the community, on the front lines, making the impact, making the difference, and bringing that back so that we can then share and show the love and the caring. Besides all of that, culturally, that is who we are as Latinos. We are people who care. I read something on social media, and I try to not be involved with social media, because unless it involves a dog and some kids, and it makes me laugh, because sometimes it's just so depressing. And I didn't grow up with social media. I didn't grow up taking pictures every 5 seconds. Heck, I was lucky that, I'm a Gen Xer. I'm an inaugural member of the Gen X Club. Let me just put it that way. And, you kind of find your calling early in life and be able to pursue that. Sometimes we get off that track, but at the same time, coming back to it and living it and trying to make the difference, I think is huge. And I
Mm,
think that's another message our young people need to know, that you can make different choices all the time, even when you're in the middle of it and you make a choice that betters you, betters your community, betters your family. And that is all okay. But familia, regardless of whether it's Chicago, Kansas City. I got friends in New York and DC, and I apologize. Of course, my bestie in DC calls me right in the middle of everything that I'm getting ready to start. So, yeah, it's just, I love that. I love how we can connect in that way and share the ideas. So thank you for that. So we know you now that you are the inaugural group of storytellers for change, and that's something through Expresión that we do at LEC. I'm just going to put in a real quick plug for those of you watching this. The applications for the spring class are now open. You do not, let me repeat that, you do not need to be a Kansas City resident to be a part of it. As Sofia just explained, out of Chicago, she was a part of that. We've had members out of New Orleans and Arizona, and of course Kansas City, Kansas and Missouri, Iowa, Nebraska. Get that Midwestern feel, so that we can bring the voices together, because we're everywhere. We're not just in this plop or that plop or whatever. We're everywhere. We're a part of the entire diaspora of folks, that from the top of the North America all the way to the tip of South America and everywhere in between. So if you're interested in developing a skill set that can share storytelling, that you can learn how to advocate for yourself, for your students, or the young people in your community, amen, apply.
yeah.
Yeah, because right here is an example of an alum that uh, participated in, that would have been what, 5, 6 years ago now.
Yeah, it was a few years back for
Yeah,
sure. I
yeah,
don't know, 2022, 2023, por ahí.
yeah.
Um,
I was even thinking it was like before the pandemic, when the world stopped for a year and a half, or it seems like. So
around
yeah,
there, for sure.
yeah. So we've got all these. Oh, and thank you, Isabella. Isabella's our producer for today. You can see on the screen leckc.org/expresión app. So do it now. Take advantage of the application process. There's absolutely zero cost, zero, zip, nada cost to participate. There is a cost of time, and everything is done virtually, as we just mentioned, so that you can interact and get to know people from across the US. So I keep pushing that at some point we're going to find an international fellow to participate in this. And so if you're sitting someplace in Spain or in Argentina or Puerto Rico or anywhere else, and you want to be a part of this program, just please apply or send us a note and learn more a little bit how you can do that. So, Sofia, so you're a classroom teacher in high school. Do you teach all grades? Do you just teach the upper class? What grades do you teach?
I tend to bounce around depending on the needs and depending on like my wants. But this year I'm nestled with the upperclassmen, junior English, and senior college prep.
Okay, amen. That's awesome. So I always ask this of educators who are English teachers, because I'm just fascinated by the books that you all choose to have your students read. What is the book this year um, that you're challenging your students to absorb and make that a part of their life?
Yeah. So right now we're right in the middle. My seniors are right in the middle of a text called American Like Me
Oh,
by America Ferrera, um,
yeah.
who is a famous actress known for her role in Ugly Betty, Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, etc. And what she did was she compiled a tapestry of essays from professional athletes, activists, folks in the entertainment industry, and highlighted their cultural identity stories.
Okay.
And that's what we're learning right now. We're in the memoir unit, and I am intentionally amongst my first generation and second generation students from Mexico, newcomers, and some African American students peppered in. I am amplifying cultural identity, cultural currency. I'm dismantling stereotypes and dangerous narratives. We're speaking Spanglish. We're talking about colorism. Today, I broke down colorism to my seniors. Okay.
Wow. What
And
was your reaction to that? Sorry to
they
interrupt.
no, for sure. They were really intrigued, like, and just even talking about it among the Latino community. That
Mhm.
colorism is a thing,
Oh,
and how I described, how it could swing either way.
mhm.
How, for example, I'm lighter skin, whiter presenting, and if I wanted to, I could use that kind of like and leverage that proximity to whiteness
Mhm.
privilege that I have, even as a daughter of immigrants.
Mhm.
And in one of the essays that we read, which was the voice of Moana, she described how she was called too white to be half Puerto Rican and half Portuguese.
Mm.
And she just, she really broke down how she felt and just the pride of her at the end of her essay functioning at the intersection of her authentic self. And
Mm.
so we're there right now. And then my juniors, they're actually in research right now, and they're focusing on sustainable development goals.
Okay.
That's something that I created. It's not even in the curriculum, girl. So I'm here dismantling, disrupting the text, and we're going global.
Hey,
Okay.
let's
And
do
we're
it.
talking, girl, yes, we're talking United Nations. Everybody's going to be part of the solution. So while they're out here calling us criminals, I'm calling you change makers. I'm
Okay.
calling you activists. I am giving you back your agency. And I'm telling you that you are the change that this world seeks. And your age group is leading the charge between 17 and 22 years old. They're the ones that call bullshit, excuse my French. They're the ones that are organically rebellious and protest. I'm like, you all have the makings
Yeah.
of a perfect advocate.
Yeah.
And so we're researching, and the culmination is them going to our state's capital for Advocacy Day, and they will be talking to our state representatives, isolating SDG 4, which is my jam, quality education. And before the end of the semester, Anna, they will be interfacing with my Fulbright host teacher friend from India to get that global mindset
Yeah.
before the semester's up.
Man, I want to dance right now. That is awesome. 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 Yeah, and sometimes we have to dismantle and put it back together and it
I'm
looks
making this up, girl. I'm making it up because you want to know what?
you're
Don't
not.
give
Yeah.
me Eurocentric curriculum.
Yeah.
Do not give me Eurocentric curriculum. We have read, we have seen, God bless George Washington and all the crew, pero let's get some Dolores Huerta, Cesar Chavez, America Ferrera. Let's bring in, right, some fresh voices.
Yep.
Malala Yousafzai,
Oh,
right? Like, I mean, come on. Let's John Lewis. Like,
yeah,
let's just mix this up here
sure.
and really represent, right? Because representation is huge for LEC.
Yep.
Huge. That is like one of your biggest mantras. And
Yes.
I believe that not only is representation in the teacher paramount, but representation in the text. Come on, somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, you're not making this up. It exists. You're shining the light on it. You're taking the basket off and let the light shine. So, yes, absolutely. And if you're a young teacher and you're listening to this and you're thinking about what books that I can introduce to people, then that's the kind of list that you should be thinking about. I mean, don't get me wrong, the history of the country is important.
Of course.
All of it is important.
There
And
it
I
is.
think that's where we miss the point. We think, oh, we can only do this when our history is this. Can't see it, I fell off screen, but it's massive, it's global. Our impacts as a society, um, as a country, have been huge, good and bad, good and bad. But you got to teach the whole thing. You got to give it context. You got to give it, the story of everything that happens so that people know, right? So they get
Absolutely.
full sense. Because, I argue with my older siblings all the time about, different things and how it happened and everything like that. And I'm just like, if only you guys had exposed yourself a little bit, or
Mm,
challenged. And my father used to say when I was a kid, like a little kid, because he passed when I was in high school, he
mm.
said, he would always say, if they had started with me, they wouldn't have had any more kids because they'd have been too tired. And I'm like, well, you just saved the best for last, Dad. That's all I got to say about that. But
I
yeah,
love that.
you got to do that. You got to show them the full exposure to everything. So
Yeah, the full
thank you for
exposure.
doing, yeah, thank you for doing that.
Of
And I
course.
see that Martin Clark is on here, and he's like, Dolores Huerta, sí se puede. What
Sí
is
se puede. And
that?
I literally had the opportunity to meet her
Yeah.
just last year. I
Have
manifested that. But
she's
to your
tiny.
point, do you know what I mean? She's
Yeah,
adorable.
I know. She's so tiny. You like want to put her in your pocket. And I'm
I
like,
literally want to be her, Anna. I literally want to be in my 90s and advocating and being a freedom fighter. Lord Diosito, if you're listening, okay, literally, literally give me the life, the fortitude, and the strength.
yeah,
But to your point, and then we can pivot, for me as an educator and even as a speaker, it's never been about either or, but and both,
yes,
right?
yeah,
And that is really like my life's pursuit is really to bring about that and in both.
yeah.
And so, yeah, absolutely, the whole history. And guess what? You can't get rid of immigrants if you're talking about U.S. history.
No,
It was built off the backs,
yeah.
and so
And
again,
everybody here is an immigrant at some point or another. People immigrated here. Unless you're indigenous, Native American, that's the true story about who we are as a country. And we
yeah,
forget that so easily, and we want to put, this, that, or the other, into things. So thank you for sharing that. And thank you for doing what you're doing with those kiddos up there. They're very lucky. I'd love to be a fly on the wall just to see some of that, examples of, because I mean, young people, like you said, uh, they're going to have to save us, because I think, those of us who are a little bit older, we're not doing what we should be doing, or we
that's
haven't done what we should be doing. And so, yeah, they're going to have to kind of pick up the pieces where we've dropped the ball. So, I do know that we are, and Isabella's going to shoot me because I tend to get into conversations with the folks because I'm like so excited and interested. But we are at our time, for this conversation. So drop us with a few of your words of wisdom that can inspire us to think about how do we move the needle in our lives, in our communities, in our schools, in our classrooms. What's some words that we could use?
sure. So, in closing, I really think it's paramount for all of us to realize that we need to meet the moment. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we need to meet this moment. We need to meet this moment with everything that we've got, with all of our arsenal, all hands on deck, 911, security, everybody to the front lines, because I really believe that not only the state of education, not only is the state of education at stake, but I think the democracy of our country hangs in the balance. And I really believe that we all have it within us to move forward with all of our lived experiences and realize that we are the solution, that we are the change. So it's this full embodiment. It's not even, it's without hesitation, Anna. We've got to meet the moment. We've got to exercise our courage. We have to tap into the power of our ancestors. We have to understand and realize and function in the fact that we are our ancestors' wildest dreams.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
our bloodline, our ancestors, our democracy, our country, our nation's kids, are depending on us to take that stand and to take our rightful place. And we will come out of this. We will come out of this. But we need
Stronger
stronger,
and smarter.
wiser,
Hmm.
smarter, more resilient. But we
Hmm.
definitely have to take that stand. I leave you with one of my quotes that I created that I'm writing a book around. It's called, the title of my book is called "Liberate the Lesson: A Teacher's Journey from Trauma to Transformation." So, for your listening audience, pray for your girl. I'm almost done, but one of my coin phrases that I share around the country when I speak is every revolution begins on the heels of resistance. And now is the time for us to resist.
Wow. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. G, Sofia Gonzalez, dropping some wisdom on us, taking that away and doing something with it. Thank you so much. It's such an honor and a pleasure to get to meet you and have this chat with you. We could probably go on for another hour. So I really want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you on behalf of the LEC for sharing all of this energy and insight and ingenuity in education. So thank you. Have a wonderful evening. Everyone else, great evening. And look up all those links that we shared with you. And you be the next Fulbright scholar that we have hosting. And you be the next storyteller that we have coming up. And you carry the torch that Sofia has permanently, is that the right word, lit so that she's lighting the way for all of us. So thank you so much, Sofia. Greatly appreciate all you do and all you've done. Have
Gracias a todos. Amor y paz.